It's worth it even when it doesn't feel like it. So you're probably stumbling upon this video because your life might feel like it's falling apart. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe you're going through some of the hardest times in your life with no end in sight. And so what I'm here to remind you is that, the pain that you're going through, it is still worth it, even when it doesn't feel like it. So when I was 29 years old, I was sitting outside Mass General Hospital, and my brother, my mom, and we were speaking to doctors. Basically, they told us that we had to make the decision to take dad off life support. And when this happens, a lot of crazy things happen. Your mind is like, oh my God, this is like exactly how it happens in the movies, but it's happening in real life. And then the other part is that, like, the person that you've known all your life is now gone, and they won't be in the future seasons of your life anymore. And then the final thing I realized to this is that, oh, dude, some people just don't freaking care. Like, I remember, calling my family members and friends and stuff like that. And I remember some of our family members being like, oh, yeah, we weren't close to your dad. We don't care. It's fine. But I do remember one thing where it just felt so freaking awkward to just be like, hey, dad's in the hospital. If you want to visit him and see him alive, this is probably the last time you'll ever see him ever again. And as I was going through this, I remember at the time, too, I got a text from my roommate. And he told me that work actually just sent me a letter, and if he wanted me to open it. And I was like, it, just open it. And inside that letter, basically, my employer, my pharmacist job, they let me go because of my YouTube channel. And, I remember feeling so wronged at the time because my boss, who is kind of and I still think he decided to open an investigation on me about my YouTube channel and just didn't like me. He was trying to find every single reason to terminate me because of it. I was like, dude, my life cannot get any worse. And so in 1 week, I literally lost my dad. I lost my income of going from 150K back down to zero. And I was really stuck because I had these dreams of wanting to be a business owner, wanting to be an entrepreneur, but yet kind of dedicating most of my life to this pharmacy thing and to the dream, like being the dream Asian kid, right? So of course, after reflecting on it, I go on my entrepreneur journey. Just kidding. I actually frantically applied to jobs because I was like, dude, how am I going to survive, right? And I remember applying to like 20 or 30 jobs as a pharmacist. At the time, the market wasn't that great. But I remember getting an interview for my dream pharmacist job. It was to be an advanced practitioner, a pharmacy practitioner or something like that. It was really cool. And I remember coming out of that interview and just live streaming. That's how much of a content creator I was back in the day. And I remember just speaking to camera and just like, there's something that feels so wrong about this. This feels like I should really want this really bad. Any other one of my pharmacy friends would really want this a lot, but it still didn't feel right for me. And I just realized this isn't the life I really wanted. This is the life that other people want, society wants. Maybe not my parents, but this is not my dream. And so I remember finishing up that stream, and I promised myself that, hey, I'm going to figure out this business stuff out. I am probably going to struggle. I'm probably going to eat a lot, but I'm just going to figure this thing out. Little did I know that year would be some of the hardest times in my life. So I took a few online programs, including a guru program on high ticket sales. And I was like, oh, great. I'm going to go down this route. I'm going to do YouTube on the side, and we're going to make money. Well, little did I know where I would be, yes, learning sales, learning marketing, but I was having virtual doors like slammed in my face every single day. I would get humiliated on these like sales calls. I remember feeling so insecure and feeling so bad at sales that I was like literally shaking before these calls. And looking back, I was like, it's kind of not that serious, but it felt so serious at the time too. I was also gaining a lot of weight at the time. I was also paying for an LA apartment and paying for the lifestyle that I kind of built, which wasn't lavish or anything like that. But there was just a lot of things going on, and I felt a lot of pressure during this time. Also, at the time, I felt like very, very few people kind of understood what I was going through. I remember this girl I was dating at the time. She was so caring, so nurturing, and she would just always check up on me, and I would kind of tell her about these things, but I never felt like she could really understand. And being a business owner, I think that's one of the loneliest parts, is like people just don't understand what you're going through, or there's just a lack of shared experiences where you can just really vibe. And I feel like having that support is really important. But looking back, I am grateful for all those people who came into my life. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Fast forward 7 years later, I will confidently say that I don't have the dream business that I want. I don't have the YouTube growth that I want. I don't have this fairy tale ending. But some really cool things happened because I made the leap. I met some really, really cool people. All the people that I used to watch on YouTube, like I've met Hormozy, I met like Vanessa Lau, I met like Christo, I met countless amount of other YouTubers in my life where some of them are now my friends, which is really, really cool. It forced me to become a better person, a more empathetic person, a person with better listening skills who holds space for people because I do things like sales and really want to understand people too. And it's translated into my dating life and my friends and all that too. So hyper aware about giving unsolicited advice and all that. But also too, I feel like in the process, I've become much more independent as a person. I'm not like reliant on an abusive or asshole employer or boss because I don't rely on people for one single employer for a paycheck. I have all these different skills of like high ticket sales, copywriting, marketing, YouTube, storytelling, wrist locking white belts during open mats. I have all these skills, right? And I can create value really, really easily in the marketplace, and I don't have to rely on a 9-to-5 job to sustain my living. And hell, I'm in Asia right now, literally 1:48, and I'm at a random coffee shop just shooting a video in Saigon, which is crazy. And even though I don't have all these things like the multi-million-dollar business, I will confidently say that this was one of the best decisions I made in my life. Not because of the external results, but it's the person who I became through this pressure, through these hard times. And I definitely wouldn't be the person I am today without it. The lesson I kind of learned through these experiences is that if you're driven by external results, like when you're going through hard times, it really forces you to look deep within and ask yourself, like, why am I here? Why should I keep going? Why should I not like unalive myself for the next day? I know that's kind of dark, but those were some of the thoughts that I had multiple times during this entrepreneur journey. What I also realized is that if you are driven by external results, by money and all that, you'll probably give up at some certain point because it loses meaning after a while. But through this process, you find what drives you intrinsically. You fall in love with the mundane tasks and you'll grow more than ever before because of the person that you want to become. Now, sure, do I look at my other friends and do I compare myself and make myself feel miserable? Of course, because they have families, they have fancy cars, they have the fancy house and all that. But for me, I'm very proud of how far I've come because of these evergreen talents and evergreen skills. And honestly, I just feel like my life is just beginning. I just recently hired a social media manager. I hired some new editors. I hired a thumbnail designer. I have a VA. And like it really starts like we're making momentum again. And even my ex-dream client, Ali Abdal, reached out to me pretty recently. My point is like, even if you're not a business owner and you're going through hard times, what I've learned through experience is that things don't last forever. The bad times don't last forever. The sad times don't last forever. The happy times don't last forever either. What I learned is that each and every single moment is really, really precious because it just goes away like that. It's forced me to kind of build a closer relationship to God, source, universe, whatever you call this, right? But to really trust in the process and to really believe that I'm led. In my hardest times, I still think about my dad, and I can't help but think that my dad is still watching over me and how proud he would be of me to this day. Even though you might not have the results that you kind of want or like, just take one step at a time and just capture these moments and just sit with these moments because you can never get them back ever again. Anyways, I hope that helps. Keep on going. Don't unalive yourself. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.